Welcome to One Man's Tracks, the second-hand music channel. Today's Toronto-based musical misfits formed back in 2001 and eventually compiled to 5 members, 3 of whom were guitarists. You've got Mike Haleyachuk, Josh Zucker, and bass guitarist Sandy Miranda, also known as 10,000 Marbles, Gulag, and Mustard Gas. They join up with Mr. Joe, drummer Jonah Falco, and singer Damian Abraham, aka Pink Eyes. Early on, they were this dense, chaotic punk band, but throughout Fucked Up's prolific career, they've become an almost indescribable group with a creative, cinematic style that's all their own. They've also developed a strange obsession with a guy from the 70s named David. This progressive post-punk quintet released a litany of 7-inch records over the following years, compiled in 2004 with the release of Epics in Minutes through Deranged Records. Many more EPs would follow. Eventually the band would sign with Jade Tree Records to record and release their full-length debut, Hidden World, in 2006. This year would also see the beginning of their impressive and now extensive Zodiac series with the Year of the Dog EP. These relentless rockers would become a sextet in 2007 with the addition of another guitarist. Young Governor, aka Ben Cook, would come in and they would continue their rise in prominence, signing with Matador Records for the release of the Year of the Pig and, more importantly, the release of this. Their second full-length album with production help from John Drew, released in October of 2008. This is Fucked Up's Polaris Prize-winning album, The Chemistry of Common Life. What to some might sound like a messy, screamy sound collage is a magical new world of musical possibility that Fucked Up has leaned right into. Maybe the most hardcore indie rock or the most indie hardcore album. I guess it could just be the bridge in between the two, the sort of thing that it takes a band like Fucked Up to build. It's not an album that I understood quickly, but it is an album that as soon as I heard it, I knew had some unique and exciting things to discover within it. It's a rare example of an unbound ambition combined with a competent creativity that led to an unlikely experiment that had a wide crossover potential. The Chemistry of Common Life is a stark statement that didn't just revive a scene and a sound, but introduced us to something brand new and fairly difficult to summarize. This is a conceptual, multi-layered blend of hardcore vocals, post-punk energy, classic and progressive metal and rock, as well as some contemporary emo and pop melodies jammed right in there. Nearly definable as a whole, so I guess let's just get into the nits and grits and start breaking apart this brilliant 11 tracks in 52 minutes and see if it'll continue to elude my definition hammer. Starting with the biblical opening cut, Son the Father. Its spring-like flute intro leading you to this wave of guitars that crashes over with Damian's guttural scream. It's hot enough being born in the first place. Who would ever want to be born again? The lyrics are just another aspect that put this project in a field of its own. The primary songwriters, Mike and Damian, draw from all the corners of lyrical inspiration, adding yet another layer to this already incredibly dense project. This opener is a shining example of that excellent lyricism. The tracklist is just full of fantastic prose with awesome cadences. On to Magic Word, a relatively straightforward psych-punk song about psychedelics and maybe just mind-altering substances in general. It is the song that's probably most directly influenced by James F.W. Johnson's 1850s plant book that shares the same title as this album. Golden Seal is then the floating instrumental come down from that metallic trip that warps and drones along hazily until you reach the Days of Last that sees return to the Jesus allegories, growling vocals, dark, heavy drumming and shrieking atmospheric guitars. Parts of Crooked Head feel right out of 70s prog, and even the vocal delivery feels pretty 80s punk with a little bit of a hardcore edge, but it's these indie rock transitions, these modern guitar licks that are shoehorned into this track somehow pretty effectively, like non-intrusively. It turns this into something new. I guess I'd describe it as stadium rock for millennials, and I dig it quite a bit. It rocks right into one of my favorites on this track list, No Epiphany, featuring the Vivian Girls. This one's got enough rowdiness as well as this blues rocky groove that even though it is a bit slower than your usual headbanger, I still can't resist letting my hair fly right after this ripping chorus. I'll do my best to try to include it down in the description, but I don't have the bonus track, The Peaceable Kingdom, on my CD, so I'm going to be just skipping right to Black Albino Bones, another top track about little escapes or addictions. Dallas Green's guest vocals just soar on the chorus here with a hint of desperation that juxtaposes Damien's brutal verse delivery. It encapsulates just the crossroads that this project is trying to, and the fact that it's pulled off this effectively proves to me that they didn't just haphazardly stumble into this progressive concept. Royal Swan flutters in on an organ that spirals downwards to a big crash of cymbals. I have a hard time getting tired of these theatrical openings or the fabulous guest vocals, with Katie Stillmanis doing quite well here to ground Damien just a little bit. There's some fabulous tension created by the tempo and the underlying guitar layers. Again, some cyclical and building symbology. It's just brilliantly done once more. It seems like the deeper you investigate Fucked Up, the more you're bound to appreciate them. Here we go again, it's Twice Born, a song about how we all want to feel like we're special individuals, but at the end of the day we're all the same and we're all insane. The energy here makes me feel like this one's the closing song, with its united exclamations, its bouncing chorus and reverberating outro. It could be the end, but if you're paying enough attention by now to this project, you'll understand that the end is just the beginning. It's all just a endless circle. And even if you're not paying too much attention, don't worry, because once you get through this second, more ominous, maybe more exploratory instrumental title, Looking for God, you'll reach some familiar tones and chord progressions that are from the opening track, The Son, the Father, on this awesome closing title track. The longest on the album by nearly a minute. It just takes its time. It's this epic rockin' mix that this album deserves, and we've all earned for getting our way through this awesome cyclical journey on this complicated, collaborative sonic cornucopia that is well deserving of its accolades. Or maybe none of us deserve anything or have earned anything. Did I miss the point a little bit here? You tell me, what do you think these chronicles convey? I apologize if I'm a little bit busy listening to their brand new B-sides and rarities that's going to come out the day after I release this video. It's called Do All Words Can Do, and it's just a compilation of songs that have been unreleased from a time just shortly after the recording of this album, when they were working on their even more ambitious follow-up, David Comes to Life. It's just another incredible Polaris-nominated album that I am desperately going to be seeking for in my second-hand searches, and it's probably going to take a while due to just how special that album is. If you're interested in learning more about David's life, check out David's Town, a little concept album that lives in that same universe. That was released in 2011, and then in 2014 they'd react again with a heavier, more streamlined project called Glass Boys that then see them once again shift after that. That could have been the end of the band, and really all of these albums have the finality about them that really these guys could walk away from, but something just keeps them together. And so 2018 brought us Dose Your Dreams, a more ambitious direction again, more cinematic, more flowy indie sound. It's totally different, and who knows where they're going next. I simply just don't have the time to start talking about their ever-expanding Zodiac series, whose most recent 4-part Year of the Horse has taken that concept to its highest height so far. Not to mention their many singles, EPs, soundtracks, and whatnot that these fine artists have produced. I'm consistently floored by their output, their longevity, and just their energy. I understand it won't be the same as seeing them 15 years ago, but if they ever come close enough for me to rock along with, I'm gonna be jumping at that chance. Tell me your favorite thing these guys have made. Leave me a fucked up comment down below. Like the video and subscribe for next week's secondhand music retrospectives. Here's a couple more that I think you'll enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Can't sleep thinking about it! Can't sleep thinking about it! I need a little escape!